All right, so today we're going to be talking about two different types of teaching models. The types of teaching models that we'll be discussing is traditional versus online. Traditional would be your in-class classes versus online, which would be through the internet. So a few of the similarities between the two is they can both be face-to-face. So traditional is in a classroom, so it's going to be face-to-face. You're physically in the classroom, so everybody can interact with one another. Versus online, while we haven't always thought of online as being a face-to-face interaction, it can be with the technology and the apps that we have now. So we have Zoom, we have Skype, and basically what these apps let you do is they let you communicate with students face-to-face, no matter where you are in the world. Another similarity is that they can both be collaborative. So, for example, in the class that we're currently taking, we have to write discussion posts, respond to other people. So that is collaborative, that is communication between peers. But then when you are in a traditional classroom, you have things like group discussions, and you also have interactions between the professor and the student that can happen pretty much immediately. So you have a lot of collaboration between peers and instructor going on there. Some of the differences, so for traditional learning, this happens in the classroom. So this is a physical presence in a classroom, while online learning takes place on the internet. So this could occur anywhere in the world. Traditional learning has a more strict schedule. So you have to be at a certain place at a certain time, while online has a more flexible schedule. And this can also vary kind of depending on the class, but typically an online platform is going to be more flexible. You can do assignments at your own pace. And that's kind of what I'm finding as an adult learner through the program that I'm in right now. So advantages and disadvantages of traditional learning. So some advantages of traditional learning are in-person interaction. So I know for me as a learner, I really like being able to read other people's body language and just kind of getting a better understanding of other learners and the educator, so the teacher. And I feel like that can happen when you are able to see somebody face to face. It allows for a deeper understanding of what they're talking about. There's also, so I teach science, and there's the ability to work hands-on. So what I mean by this is labs or other hands-on activities to help solidify a lesson. So for science, I teach biology. It is a very hands-on we're studying life. So it's looking at the world and how different things interact. And so I think it's really important to have those hands-on interactions, which can happen in traditional learning. Disadvantages, you need to be at a specific location at a specific time. This can drive up costs. So typically you're going to have to pay for gas. You're going to have to find transportation. You're going to have to pay for materials that you wouldn't have to pay for if you were in an online setting. Another is pacing imposed upon the learner versus it being flexible and online. So again, with pacing in a traditional setting, you do have to be in the classroom. You typically have assignments due in the classroom at a specific time versus online. While you still do have due dates, typically the due dates are front loaded, so that way you can work on them at your own pace, which is nice. Some advantages and disadvantages of online learning. So some advantages are the ability to take classes from anywhere. You could be anywhere in the world and you could take classes. It's more self-paced. Some disadvantages are availability of reliable technology or online learning programs. So for me, I'm thinking online labs. There's not a lot as far as that goes, or at least free ones. And then a huge one is access to reliable internet connection or internet in general. So applying adult learning theory, so you have Knowles andrology, which kind of focuses on assumptions that are made about adult learners and the way that they learn. And so if we look at traditional and online, a lot of different learners learn in a lot of different ways. So some students prefer online learning while others do not. So there was a study done, and basically what they found was that there was a mix of preferences between who preferred to learn online and who preferred to learn traditionally. Self-directed learning, is another adult learning theory. For this theory, students take responsibility for their own learning. For online learning, students are forced to impose a schedule. For learning on their own and in traditional settings, students must make time outside of classes to apply knowledge that they have gained. Similar learning outcomes. So you want both outcomes to be the same, whether you're teaching virtually, online, or you're teaching in person traditionally. So one way to keep online and traditional learning outcomes similar is to hold similar expectations. So collaboration between learners, you want learners to collaborate whether they're in person or online. The educator needs to provide feedback, and people need to be respectful, and there needs to be an inviting classroom environment so that people feel comfortable sharing their opinions and replying to others. This is my take on online versus traditional, and I want to thank you so much.